Hey guys, so in today's video I am going to be talking you through how to write a paper 2/paper 3 for IB history. So the topic of the question is discuss the reasons for the failure of the Second Crusade between 1145 to 1149. So of course we're going to be doing a Second Crusade question, as that is the content that I've been going through with you till now. So first, this is a paper 2 and 3 Bible, and it's really helpful. If you read this, it'll really help you with command terms, what paper 2 and paper 3 are, and how to plan the essay and how to understand the question. So if you could take a screenshot of that, that would be really useful for you. So next, so step 1 is that you need to work out what the question is asking you to do. There may be a command term present, so think about your key history skills of causation, consequence, significance, change and continuity, perspectives, and significance, because this will help you get top marks if you are able to identify command terms. Then you need to simplify what this question is asking you. This is just an example that I have written, but we're not doing anything on the First Crusade, so you can just ignore that. And then so the skills that are needed for a grade 7. So planning, it needs to be well structured, and you need to understand the question and its implications. Sometimes an assumption in the question that needs to be tackled. Your knowledge needs to be very good, and you need to have enough evidence, but you still have to keep it relevant to the question, and that is why you have to look at the date bracket. So for this one, 1145 to 1149, and you have to focus on that. And analysis, so it has to be sustained and backed up with evidence, critical analysis, and a clear and developed conclusion and introduction. And you need to have different perspectives from different historians to be able integrated into your essay to be able to get into the top grade bracket. So step 2 is how to select your evidence. So there is never enough time to include everything in a history essay, so you must focus on your selection of evidence that is relevant and that will really bring out your history skills and show that you really know what you're talking about. And you have to think about the implications in the question as well. So here are some of the IB command terms for history, and it just tells you what each one means so that you know what to write if you get one of these command terms in your paper 3 or paper 2 essay. These command terms are also used in paper 1s for the 9 markers at the end, so that is really useful. And then here is the mark scheme and the mark bands for paper 2, which will help you, and you have to aim for the 13 to 15 for paper 2 to get a 7, but for paper 3 it is 12 out of 15 and above for a 7. So to help you with your revision, this timeline would be really useful for the Second Crusade, and because timelines are really helpful to put the events into date brackets to help you focus on a certain time bracket that you were given in the question, in this case 1145 to 1149. And I like to use these plans when planning out my essays because it's really useful. So first you can talk about what is your overall argument, and for intros, it is good to start with saying, I agree to a certain extent, or I agree to a limited extent, depends what you think for each question, and then state your 3 main factors that you are going to be talking about in your essay. Then you have to have a topic sentence for paragraph 1, 2, and 3 that is clear and concise so that the examiner can know exactly what you're talking about, with a mini conclusion in the end of each main body paragraph, other than your conclusion at the end, that gives a clear judgment of what you think with a complex explanation, including the other factors that are less significant. And in each of your main body paragraphs, you have to have evidence from your own knowledge, alternative perspectives, and perspectives from different historians that you would have learned about at school. So for the Crusades, you could be using Hindley, Asbridge, yeah. And for Genghis, it would be McLean, Mann, and yeah. So that's it. And then here is a example grade 7 essay for the Second Crusade, so failure of the Second Crusade. So this example clearly has a clear introduction. Although this introduction is quite short, it still works. And then this person did a clear topic sentence, evidence and explanation, and then analysis and link to the question with an alternative perspective. And their first factor was poor leadership and internal conflict in the Holy Land, which is also clearly stated in this thesis in the introduction. Then, and you also have to link back to the question in your paragraphs. This is what makes people lose marks the most. You have to link to the question in the beginning, the middle, and the end of each paragraph. And if you feel like you're doing it too much, that means you're doing it right. Then the second paragraph is about logistical difficulties, such as weather, harsh terrain, food supplies, and equipment. And they use evidence from Jones, who is another historian for the Crusades. And the third paragraph is about Muslim opposition, making the Christians fail in the Second Crusade. But they need to expand, and they also include support from Asbridge. And yeah. But for your first paragraph, which is usually the one you agree with the most, that you think was the main cause for the failure of the Second Crusade, you would not include an alternative, like you don't need to include an alternative perspective, as that is your main argument. And then the conclusion clearly states what this person thinks is the main cause of the failure of the Second Crusade. They evaluate the most significant factor, and it says what they need to do, what else they need to do to expand on it and make it better. And yeah, you can also talk about long-term, short-term consequences and factors. And yeah, that's it. This one got 12 out of 15, which is a grade 7. So this is what everyone should be aiming for. Thank you. Hope you enjoy. And in the next video, we'll be talking about the consequences and outcomes of the Second Crusade, the aftermath. Thank you. Bye.